Princess Charlotte stopped smiling the moment the cameras turned away. Sergeant Thomas Wright noticed it at the end of a garden reception at Windsor. For 7 years, he had protected members of the royal family without becoming part of their lives. That was the job. Stay close enough to see danger. Stay far enough to disappear. But this danger did not come through a gate. It stood beside Charlotte in a gray dress and spoke in a soft, patient voice. Lady Miriam Vale was a senior household advisor. She arranged private lessons, family schedules, and what the palace called resilience preparation for the royal children. To photographers, she looked kind. To staff, she was calm, efficient, and almost impossible to challenge. She bent toward Charlotte and whispered something. Charlotte's face changed. The 9-year-old girl lowered her eyes. Her hands closed around each other. She nodded once. Lady Vale smiled for the cameras and touched Charlotte's shoulder. Then she walked away. Charlotte did not move for several seconds. Wright had seen that stillness before. He had seen it in frightened witnesses and young soldiers trying not to show panic. It was the stillness of someone who believed the safest thing she could do was become invisible. Kate crossed the lawn a moment later. "Ready to go inside?" she asked. Charlotte gave her mother a perfect public smile. "Yes, Mum." Kate reached for her hand. Charlotte let her take it, but she did not look up. Before we continue, subscribe and tell us where you are watching from. Then stay with this story, because the words Charlotte heard that afternoon would lead to every palace gate being locked. The reception ended shortly after 4. Guests left through the main entrance. Staff began clearing glasses and folded chairs. William remained with King Charles for a private meeting, while Kate took George and Louis toward the family rooms. Wright was completing his final security walk when he saw Charlotte again. She was alone in the East Service corridor. No nanny, no family assistant, no assigned officer. She stood beside a locked supply room with one hand inside her cardigan pocket. "Your Royal Highness?" Charlotte turned quickly. "I'm sorry," she said. Wright had not accused her of anything. "Are you lost?" "No." "Does your mother know you're here?" Charlotte looked toward the family staircase. "She's busy. She'll still want to know where you are." Charlotte's hand tightened inside her pocket. "She doesn't want me bothering her." Wright lowered his voice. "Did your mother say that?" Charlotte hesitated. "Someone told me." "Who?" She pulled a small red telephone from her pocket. It was an old emergency model used during security drills. A white label on the back read "Family Contact." The screen was cracked at one corner. It should have been stored in a locked crisis cabinet, not carried by a child. Charlotte held it as if it were both precious and dangerous. "This is the phone Mum gave me," she said. "Did the Princess of Wales give it to you herself?" Charlotte shook her head. "Lady Vale said Mum approved it." Wright looked at the screen. The recent call list showed 17 calls to a contact marked Mum. All 17 were marked answered. "Did you speak to your mother?" Charlotte's eyes filled, but she refused to cry. "Not exactly." "What does that mean?" "Sometimes Lady Vale answered. Sometimes another lady did." "Why would they answer a telephone marked Mum?" Charlotte looked down. "They said Mum asked them to." Wright felt the first cold warning in his chest. "What did they tell you?" Charlotte's answer came so quietly he almost missed it. "That Mum was tired of me calling." The corridor seemed to become very still. "Your mother would not ask someone to say that." "They knew things." "What things?" "They knew I cried after school. They knew Mum and Papa argued about my schedule. They knew I asked to sleep in Mum's room when Papa was away." Those details could make a lie feel true to a child. Wright held out his hand. "May I see the phone?" Charlotte did not give it to him. "If you call, she'll know." "Who will know?" "Lady Vale." "How?" "Because she always calls me back." Wright's training told him to contact his commander and wait. His instincts told him that if the normal chain already included Lady Vale, waiting might be exactly what someone expected him to do. "We won't call anyone yet," he said. "Show me what happens when you press Mum." Charlotte's thumb hovered over the screen. She pressed the contact. The call connected immediately. No ringing. A woman answered in a controlled voice. Charlotte, you were told not to use this line again today. Charlotte looked at Wright. He raised one finger, asking her to stay quiet. The woman continued. Your mother needs space. Calling again will only prove that you are not ready to behave like a grown-up girl. Wright took the phone. This is Sergeant Thomas Wright, Royal Protection. Identify yourself. Silence. Then the woman spoke. Sergeant, this is a private family exercise. Return the device to Princess Charlotte and forget this call. Who authorized you to answer a line marked for the Princess of Wales? The call ended. The newest entry disappeared from the screen. 17 calls became 16. Charlotte stepped closer to Wright. She's deleting them. Another entry vanished. Wright switched the phone to flight mode. The deletion stopped at 15. He photographed the call list with his secured work device. Then he looked at Charlotte. Did your mother ever tell you that she needed space from you? Charlotte searched his face before answering. No. Did your father? No. Then we are going to ask them directly. Charlotte grabbed his sleeve. Please don't tell Lady Vale first. Why? Because she said if I made trouble, Mum would be ashamed that I couldn't handle one simple lesson. That was the moment Wright understood the real danger. The telephone was not only stopping Charlotte from reaching her mother, it was teaching her that her mother had chosen not to listen. Wright did not take Charlotte to the security office. He took her to a small family library beside Kate's private rooms and asked Officer Sarah Kent to meet them there. Kent had protected Kate for 4 years. She was trusted by the family and had no connection to Lady Vale's office. Charlotte sat on the edge of a sofa, still holding the red telephone. Kent wrapped a blanket around her shoulders. Are you hurt? Kent asked. No. Did anyone touch you? No. Did anyone threaten you? Charlotte thought about it. Not like in films. Wright crouched so he was not standing over her. What did Lady Vale say would happen if you told someone? She said Mum would know I had failed. Failed what? Being independent. How long has this lesson been happening? 19 days. 17 calls in 19 days. Almost every day. A child had tried to reach her mother. Kent called Kate on a secure line. She arrived in less than 3 minutes. Kate entered the library without an assistant. Her expression changed when she saw Charlotte wrapped in a blanket and Wright holding an evidence camera. What happened? Charlotte stood but did not run to her. That frightened Kate more than tears would have. Mom, Charlotte said, did you ask Lady Vale to answer me? Kate looked confused. Answer what? Charlotte held up the red phone. My calls. Kate crossed the room. I have never seen that phone. Charlotte's face tightened. But it has your number. Let me see. Wright kept the device in flight mode and showed Kate the printed contact card inside its blue case. Her private number was correct. William's number was correct. The duty protection number was correct. These are real, Kate said. The printed numbers are, Wright replied. The phone is not connecting to them. Kate took out her own telephone. No calls from Charlotte. No missed attempts. No messages. Nothing. Charlotte stared at the empty history. Not even one? Kate shook her head. Not one. Charlotte looked more hurt than relieved. Then why did she say you answered through her? I didn't. She knew I cried after school. Kate sat beside her daughter. You told your tutor that. Your tutor put it in the daily welfare note. She knew you and Papa argued about my schedule. Kate's eyes moved to Wright. That conversation had happened in a private family office. Lady Vale helped prepare the schedule being discussed. Charlotte continued. She knew I wanted to sleep in your room. Kate went still. Who did you tell? Mrs. Ellis. Mrs. Ellis was a junior family assistant. Every evening, she sent a short household report to Lady Vale. The pieces were painfully simple. Lady Vale did not need secret intelligence. She had access to ordinary details about Charlotte's day. She used those details to make the false calls sound as if they came from Kate. Kate reached for Charlotte. Charlotte pulled back. Only an inch. But Kate felt it. Sweetheart, I would never tell anyone I was tired of you. She said you were tired because I asked too many questions. I love your questions. She said you only say that when people are watching. Kate's face broke. Charlotte, look at me. Charlotte did. I have never asked anyone to stop you calling me. I have never asked anyone to teach you that I need space from you. If you call me 17 times, I want to know why you needed me 17 times. Charlotte's eyes filled. Even if I'm being difficult? Especially then. Charlotte finally moved into her mother's arms. Kate held her, but Charlotte did not relax completely. 19 days of carefully planted doubt did not disappear because of one sentence. Wright examined the phone while mother and daughter sat together. There was a folder marked LS and Notes. Inside were short written messages. Your mother is resting. Do not call again. Your mother has been informed that you were tearful. Your mother agrees that repeated calls are attention-seeking. Your mother will speak to you when you show better self-control. Each message ended with a small blue heart. Kate used blue hearts in notes to her children. Lady Vale knew that too. Charlotte pointed to the symbol. That's why I believed her. Kate covered her mouth. Wright scrolled farther. One message was different. Your mother says a future queen cannot need comforting every time she feels lonely. Kate read it twice. I never said this. Her voice had changed. The pain remained, but anger now stood beside it. Who calls Charlotte a future queen in private lessons? Wright asked. Kate looked at him. Lady Vale. The library door opened. Commander Adrian Wells entered with 2 officers. He had led royal protection for more than 20 years. Wright trusted him. That trust lasted until Wells saw the red phone. Where did you get that device? Princess Charlotte had it. Wells looked at Kate, then at the child in her arms. Ma'am, I've just received a notice from the Household Resilience Office. That phone is part of an authorized exercise. Kate stood. Authorized by whom? Lady Vale's office says the family approved it last month. I did not. There may be a misunderstanding. Someone has spent 19 days telling my daughter I don't want to hear from her. Wells's expression tightened. Then we need to verify the program calmly. Calmly? Kate pointed at the messages. Read them. Wells did. For a moment, Wright saw real concern. Then the commander's professional mask returned. The device is palace property. I need to secure it and begin a formal review. Charlotte held the phone against her chest. No! Wells softened his voice. Your Royal Highness, no one is taking anything away from you. We are preserving it. Charlotte looked at Wright. That's what Lady Vale said before she deleted my first note. No one spoke. Wells held out his hand. Sergeant, the phone. Wright did not move. Sir, the call history was being deleted remotely. If this device reconnects, we may lose everything. Then it will remain shielded. Who will control it? I will. Kate stepped between them. William hears the recordings before this leaves the room. Wells looked uncomfortable. Ma'am, the Prince of Wales is in a classified meeting. We cannot interrupt him based on an unverified training dispute. Charlotte heard every word. Training dispute. Not 19 days of hurt. Not a child being taught that her mother no longer wanted her. A dispute. Wright saw Charlotte's shoulders begin to fold inward again. Commander, he said, with respect, the child is the verification. Wells's eyes hardened. That is enough, Sergeant. Kate refused to release the phone until an independent safeguarding officer arrived. Wells could not order the Princess of Wales to hand it over. Instead, he sealed the library, posted 2 officers outside, and began making calls. Charlotte sat close to Kate. Wright remained beside the table with the red phone inside a shielded pouch. 10 minutes later, the screen lit without connecting to a network. A file appeared beneath the lesson messages. Delete pending. Wright removed the battery. The warning remained. There is another transmitter in the case, he said. Wells looked irritated. Or the screen has not refreshed. Then we open the case under camera. You do not open official equipment without technical staff. The technical staff report to Lady Val's program. That was the first time Wright openly questioned the chain of command. Wells noticed. Sergeant, step outside. No, Kate said. The single word ended the argument. Officer Kent brought a basic evidence kit from Kate's protection room. Wright photographed the case, cut the blue lining, and found a second memory card taped beneath the foam. Charlotte stared at it. I put that there. Kate turned to her. You did? Charlotte nodded. The phone deleted things after I called. George showed me how his camera saves pictures on a little card. I found an old one and made the phone copy the recordings. Wright looked at the card in surprise. Who helped you? No one. How did you know what to record? Charlotte's voice became small again. Because I started forgetting which things were true. Kate closed her eyes. That sentence hurt more than every written message. Charlotte had not made recordings to expose a grand conspiracy. She made them because an adult had repeated a lie until the child no longer trusted her own memory. The safeguarding officer arrived and approved playing the card on an isolated recorder. The first file began with Charlotte's voice. This is for me in case tomorrow I think I imagined it. Kate gripped her daughter's hand. Then Lady Vale's voice filled the room. Your mother asked me to help you become less demanding. Charlotte answered. Mum says I can always call. Mothers say comforting things. That does not mean they want to be interrupted whenever a child feels lonely. But she gave me the number. And she gave me permission to decide when you are ready to use it. The recording ended. No technical explanation was needed. No one in the room misunderstood. The second file was worse. Charlotte was crying softly. Lady Vale sounded calm. Crying will not make your mother answer. Can you please just tell her I'm sorry? Sorry for what? For needing her. Kate made a broken sound. Charlotte tried to stop the recording, but Kate held her gently. You never apologize for needing me. Charlotte looked ashamed. I thought you were already tired. Never of you. The third recording began in a car. Lady Vale said, Your mother loves you, but she also loves the version of you that does not create problems. Charlotte asked, Which version am I today? That depends on what you do next. Wright's jaw tightened. Wells stopped pretending the program might be harmless. How many files? He asked. 9, Wright replied. Charlotte corrected him. 10. She pointed to a file without a date. That one is only me. Kate asked if she wanted it played. Charlotte shook her head. Then she looked at Wells. He needs to hear it. Wright pressed play. Charlotte's recorded voice sounded younger than the child sitting in the room. If Mum really wants a break from me, I will stop asking. I can eat dinner even when my stomach hurts. I can go to bed without calling. I can be the version that doesn't make problems. But if someone finds this, and Mum never said those things, please tell her I tried to reach her. Please tell her I wasn't ignoring her. I thought she was ignoring me. The recording ended. Kate pulled Charlotte into her arms and cried openly. Wells looked at the floor. Wright felt something harden inside him. This was no longer a question about an unusual training method. It was evidence of an adult deliberately separating a child from her mother and using the mother's love as a weapon. William hears that now, Kate said. Wells did not argue. He called the Prince of Wales's private secretary. The call lasted less than a minute. When he ended it, his expression was wrong. The secretary says William cannot be interrupted for another hour. Kate stared at him. Give me the phone. Mom? I will call my husband myself. His secured line is being held during the meeting. Wright saw a notification flash on Wells's tablet. Household resilience. Material recovery team en route. Lady Vale was sending people to collect the evidence. Commander, Wright said, cancel that team. Wells turned the screen away. They are authorized technical staff. They work for the woman on the recordings. They maintain the equipment. Kate stood. No one from Lady Vale's office enters this room. Wells nodded slowly. But he did not cancel the team. Wright realized the commander was afraid. Not of Lady Vale personally. Of what would happen if the palace admitted that an approved child program had emotionally harmed a princess. Wells wanted time. Lady Vale wanted the evidence. Charlotte had already spent 19 days waiting for an adult to choose her over the institution. Wright decided she would not wait another hour. Wright asked Officer Kent to keep everyone away from the library. Then he told Wells he needed to inspect the corridor. The commander allowed him to leave, but ordered him not to contact anyone. Wright walked past the guards, turned into the private stairwell, and called William's assistant from his personal emergency directory. No answer. He called again. Still nothing. The third time, a man answered, James Hartley. Sir, Sergeant Thomas Wright, Royal Protection. I have urgent evidence concerning Princess Charlotte. Commander Wells has already reported a dispute over a training device. It is not a dispute. There are recordings. What kind of recordings? A senior advisor telling Charlotte that Catherine is tired of her, that crying will not make her mother answer, and that she must become less demanding to deserve contact. Silence. Have you heard them yourself? Hartley asked. Yes. Has Catherine? She is holding Charlotte right now. Why has William not been told? Wright looked back toward the library door. Because everyone keeps deciding that the proper time is later. Hartley's voice changed. Send me one file. Wright had copied the final recording to his secured evidence unit before giving the card to the safeguarding officer. Doing so without his commander's approval could end his career. He sent it. Hartley listened while Wright remained on the line. At the sentence I thought she was ignoring me, Hartley stopped the playback. Where is Lady Vale? Unknown. Where is Charlotte? With Catherine in the family library. Do not let anyone move her. Do not release the evidence. I am interrupting William now. The line ended. Wright returned to the library. Two members of Lady Vale's technical team stood outside. Wells was arguing with Kate. The equipment must be returned to its owning department. The owning department is being accused by my daughter. No one is accused until a formal assessment is complete. Charlotte heard that too. She stood. I'm accusing her. Every adult turned. Charlotte's voice shook, but she continued. Lady Vale lied to me. She told me Mum didn't want me. She made me say sorry for calling. I am accusing her. Kate moved beside her. And I believe her. Wells looked trapped. His radio sounded before he could answer. Lady Vale was approaching the family corridor. Charlotte backed into Kate. Don't let her take me. Kate's face became steel. No one is taking you anywhere. Lady Vale appeared at the far end of the corridor with two assistants. She walked calmly, as if arriving to solve an inconvenience. Catherine, she said, I understand Charlotte has become distressed during her resilience exercise. Kate stepped into the doorway. You told my daughter I did not want to hear from her. Lady Vale sighed. That is an emotional interpretation of a carefully designed lesson. She recorded you. For the first time, Lady Vale lost control of her expression. Only for a second. Then the calm smile returned. Children record fragments. Fragments require context. Charlotte spoke from behind Kate. What context makes it all right to say Mum loves me more when I don't make problems? Lady Vale looked at her. The warmth disappeared from her eyes. Charlotte, this is exactly the kind of public challenge your mother asked us to correct. Kate moved so quickly that Wright stepped forward. She did not strike Lady Vale. She simply placed herself completely between the woman and her child. Do not speak to my daughter again. Lady Vale looked at Wells. Commander, remove the device and return Charlotte to her room. This conversation is causing unnecessary harm. Wells hesitated? That hesitation told everyone where his loyalty had been. Wright stepped beside Kate. Lady Vale, you do not have authority over Princess Charlotte. Sergeant, you are far outside your role. My role is protection from physical threats. A child begged us not to let you take her. Lady Vale's face tightened. Commander Wells, suspend this officer. Wells finally acted. Sergeant Wright, surrender your credentials. Kate turned toward him. Commander, think very carefully. Wells could not meet her eyes. He violated direct orders and transmitted protected family material outside the chain of command. Wright removed his badge. Charlotte began to cry. He helped me. Wright gave the badge to Wells. It's all right, Your Royal Highness. No, it isn't. I knew what it might cost. Lady Vale's technical staff reached for the evidence case. Wright blocked them even without his badge. No one touches it. Wells ordered the guards forward. Then every radio in the corridor sounded at once. The message came from the Prince of Wales's private office. All movement involving Princess Charlotte was frozen. All evidence connected to the red telephone was placed under William's direct authority. No staff member was to leave Windsor, and Lady Miriam Vale was to remain exactly where she stood. William had heard the recording. William was 40 miles away when Hartley interrupted the secure meeting. Under normal rules, no family matter entered that room. Hartley entered anyway. Sir, this concerns Charlotte. William looked up immediately. Is she hurt? Not physically. Hartley placed the evidence unit on the table. You need to hear this before anyone explains it. He played Charlotte's final recording. William listened without moving. If Mum really wants a break from me, I will stop asking. His eyes changed. I can be the version that doesn't make problems. His hand closed around the edge of the table. Please tell her I tried to reach her. When the recording ended, William did not ask whether it had been verified. He asked one question. Where is my daughter? With Catherine in the family library. Where is Vale? Outside the library. She arrived with a team to recover the telephone. William stood. Who allowed that? Commander Wells. Hartley gave him the short version. 17 intercepted calls. Messages written as if they came from Kate. Recordings of Lady Vale teaching Charlotte that love depended on being easy. A technical team sent to collect the evidence. A sergeant suspended after bypassing the chain of command. William called Kate. She answered on the first ring. William. He heard Charlotte crying in the background. Put me on speaker. Kate did. Charlotte, it's Papa. The child did not answer at first. Sweetheart, I heard your recording. Am I in trouble? William closed his eyes. No. Sergeant Wright got in trouble because of me. He got in trouble because an adult was afraid of the truth. That is not your fault. Charlotte sniffed. Did Mum really not know? Mum did not know. I did not know. We should have known, and I am sorry. Lady Vale said important people don't have time for feelings every day. William's voice became firm. You are more important to me than any meeting, any event, or any title. Do you understand? Charlotte started crying harder. Kate, here. William continued. Stay with Mum. Sergeant Wright stays near you. Lady Vale does not come into that room. I am coming home. He ended the call and turned to Hartley. Get the aircraft ready. Already done. Call Windsor Security. Hartley lifted his phone. William stopped him. No. I will give the order. Commander Wells answered. Sir, we are managing a sensitive family situation. You suspended the officer who brought me evidence. Sergeant Wright broke several security rules. Did he lie? Wells paused. No, sir. Did Charlotte lie? No. Did Catherine authorize Vale to tell my daughter she did not want her calls? No. Then the only people who followed the purpose of protection were the child who made the recording and the guard who refused to bury it. Sir, Lady Vale says the recordings require context. She can give me her context when I arrive. William looked at the clock. Until then, seal every gate. Wells went silent. Sir? No vehicle leaves. No staff member leaves. No device leaves. Vale remains under observation. Her office is secured. Her assistants are separated. The red phone and every copy of its recordings go to an independent evidence officer. A complete lockdown will attract attention. My daughter spent 19 days believing her mother was tired of her because your system gave one advisor more protection than a child. I am no longer concerned about avoiding attention. Sir, Charlie 7 has never been used for an internal family matter. It is not a family matter. It is a protection failure. William's next words were heard by everyone standing near Wells. Lock the palace down. At 5:18 in the evening, the main gates began to close. Cars waiting to leave were turned back. Staff at service exits were directed to common rooms. Lady Vale's technical team was separated from the evidence. Her office computers were secured. Commander Wells returned Wright's badge temporarily because William had ordered the sergeant to remain with Charlotte. Lady Vale stood in the corridor and watched the gates close through a tall window. For 19 days, she had controlled who Charlotte could call. Now she could call no one outside the palace, and William was on his way home. The lockdown frightened almost everyone except Charlotte. She sat beside Kate in the family library, watching the dark windows. Outside, officers moved through the corridors. Doors opened and closed. Radios carried short commands. Staff whispered about a threat no one could see. Charlotte understood the threat. It was the idea that her mother had chosen not to answer. Wright remained near the library door. His badge had been returned, but he knew that might last only until the crisis ended. Charlotte looked at him. Will they fire you tomorrow? They might review what I did. That means yes. It means I made a choice. Because of me. Because you asked for help. I could have stayed quiet. Wright shook his head. Staying quiet would have protected the wrong person. Kate heard him. So did Commander Wells, standing outside the room. The commander said nothing. William arrived 27 minutes after giving the lockdown order. He did not go to the operations room. He did not meet Lady Vale. He went directly to Charlotte. The library door opened. Charlotte stood. William crossed the room and knelt in front of her. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Charlotte asked the question she had been carrying for 19 days. "Did you and Mum need a break from me?" William's face tightened. "No. Not even when I was crying too much." "No." "Not when I kept asking the same questions?" "No." "Not when I couldn't sleep?" "Never." Charlotte looked at Kate. "Did you?" Kate knelt beside William. "I need breaks from meetings. I need breaks from cameras. Sometimes I need a break from people telling me where to stand and what to wear." She took Charlotte's hands. "I do not need a break from being your mother." Charlotte began to cry. "Lady Vale said you loved the easy version of me." Kate pulled her close. "There is no version of you I stop loving. What if I'm difficult? Then we work through a difficult day. What if I embarrass you? Then we talk about it, and I still love you. What if I call 17 times? Then I answer, or I call back, and I ask why my daughter needed me." Charlotte held on to her mother. William rested one hand on her back. The family stayed that way until Charlotte's breathing slowed. Then William asked permission to hear the other recordings. He did not take the card. He asked. Charlotte noticed. "You believe the first one?" "I believe you without any recording." "Then why listen?" "Because I am going to confront every adult responsible, and I want to know every word they made you carry." Charlotte thought about that. "All right." Wright prepared the isolated recorder. William listened to all 10 files. The first showed the lie beginning. The second showed Lady Vale refusing to connect a crying child to Kate. The third told Charlotte that needing comfort made her weak. The fourth used private family details to prove that Kate had supposedly approved. The fifth instructed her to smile after lessons so no one would ask questions. The sixth warned that George was becoming more dependable than she was. The seventh said William would be disappointed if he knew how often she cried. The eighth told her never to discuss the lessons with her brothers. The ninth said asking Kate directly would make her mother deny everything to protect her feelings. The 10th was Charlotte alone, trying to decide which version of reality was true. When the last recording ended, William stood and walked to the window. He did not speak for several seconds. Kate knew that silence. It was not uncertainty. It was control. William was controlling the anger long enough to use it properly. "How often was Charlotte alone with Vale?" he asked. Wells answered from the doorway. 7 scheduled sessions over 19 days. "Who approved them?" "The program carried Lady Vale's authorization." "That was not my question." Wells looked down. "No family signature has been verified." "Who saw Charlotte after the sessions?" "Tutors, assistants, protection officers." "Did anyone report a change?" Wells hesitated. "There were 2 notes." Kate turned. "What notes?" "A tutor said Charlotte became unusually quiet after one lesson. A junior assistant reported that she cried when asked to hand over the red phone." "Where are those reports?" "Filed with the Resilience Office." "The office run by Lady Vale." Wells did not answer. William faced him. "My daughter did tell adults." "Indirectly, sir." She cried. She became afraid. She refused to give up the only evidence she had. How direct did a 9-year-old need to be? Wells's face reddened. "We should have seen it." "You did see it. You gave every sign a harmless explanation because the alternative was inconvenient." Charlotte listened. William lowered his voice. "Sweetheart, Mom is going to take you to the private rooms with Officer Kent. George and Louis are there." "Are you talking to Lady Vale?" "Yes." "Will she say I misunderstood?" "Probably." "Will you believe her?" William returned to her and knelt again. "No explanation she gives can change what she said." "Will I have to see her?" "Not unless you decide you want to, and no one will ask you to." Charlotte looked relieved. "Can Sergeant Wright come with us?" Wells began to speak. William answered first. "Yes." Wright escorted Kate and Charlotte out. As Charlotte passed Wells, she stopped. "I told you she lied." The commander had no defense. Yes, Your Royal Highness. Sergeant Wright believed me. Yes, you punished him. Wells looked at the badge in Wright's hand. I did. Charlotte walked away. Her words remained in the corridor after she was gone. Lady Vale waited in the morning room with one protection officer at each door. She had asked to call King Charles. The request was denied. She had asked to contact the palace solicitor. William allowed a solicitor to be present later. He did not allow her to delay the first question. He entered with Hartley and an independent safeguarding officer. Lady Vale stood. William, this response is wildly disproportionate. Sit down. She did. He placed the red telephone on the table. Did Catherine authorize you to answer calls Charlotte made to her? Lady Vale folded her hands. The calls were part of a resilience assessment. That is not an answer. The program operated under household authority. Did Catherine authorize you? Lady Vale looked at Hartley, then back at William. Not personally. Did I? Your office approved the broader goal of age-appropriate independence. Did I authorize you to tell my daughter that her mother was tired of her? Those were not my words. William pressed play. Her own voice filled the room. Your mother asked me to help you become less demanding. He stopped the recording. Are those your words? Lady Vale's face tightened. A fragment of them. William played the next file. Crying will not make your mother answer. Your words? The child was escalating. He played the third. Your mother loves the version of you that does not create problems. Lady Vale stopped trying to deny the voice. I was teaching emotional control. You were teaching a child that love had to be earned by silence. That is your interpretation. It is Charlotte's interpretation. It is Catherine's interpretation. It is the safeguarding officer's interpretation. And after hearing you, it is mine. Lady Vale leaned forward. Royal children cannot be raised like ordinary children. They must learn that parents will not always be available. They must learn to function under public pressure without demanding comfort every time something feels unpleasant. She is 9. She is Princess Charlotte. She is my daughter before she is useful to this institution. Lady Vale's calm began to crack. That attitude is exactly why the children lack discipline. William stared at her. You believe you know what my children need better than their parents. I know what royal duty requires. Royal duty did not require you to steal my wife's voice. I never impersonated Catherine. You used her private number, her family details, and the blue heart she sends her children. You told Charlotte you were speaking with her mother's permission. You answered a contact marked Mum. Lady Vale looked toward the door. The exercise was meant to last 1 week. That was new. Hartley wrote it down. William asked, why did it last 19 days? Charlotte resisted. She kept calling her mother. Exactly, she failed to adapt. So each attempt to reach Kate became proof that she needed more isolation. Lady Vale said nothing. The entire cruelty of the design now sat in one simple loop. Charlotte called because she was frightened. Lady Vale used the call as proof that Charlotte deserved another day without her mother. Who else knew? William asked. The program was confidential. Names. Commander Wells knew an exercise existed. Director Lancaster knew it involved delayed parental contact. 2 technical employees maintained the phone. Did they know what you said? Not every word. Did anyone listen to the recordings? Lady Vale's eyes moved away. William saw it. Who listened? Director Lancaster reviewed selected material. And? He advised that stopping midway might reinforce attention-seeking. Hartley stopped writing. The safeguarding officer looked disgusted. William's voice became quiet. A protection director heard my daughter apologize for needing her mother and decided she needed more of the same. He understood the objective. The objective was cruelty. The objective was resilience. William stood. Resilience is what Charlotte showed when she made recordings while every adult around her failed. Lady Vale stood too. You cannot destroy a career over a child's emotional reaction to a legitimate program. I am not ending your career because Charlotte cried. He picked up the red phone. I am ending it because you used my wife's identity to frighten my daughter, concealed the program from her parents, ignored her attempts to stop and tried to recover the evidence after you were exposed. I came to secure palace property. You came to take away the one thing that proved Charlotte was telling the truth. William opened the door. Lady Vale, you are dismissed from every household role effective immediately. You will have no contact with my children. Your access is revoked. An independent investigation will determine whether further action follows. Lady Vale's face went pale. Charles will reverse this. My father will hear the recordings tonight. He understands the monarchy. William stepped closer. Then he will understand why the monarchy cannot ask a child to suffer quietly for its convenience. The guards entered. Lady Vale gathered what dignity she had left. Before she reached the door, William spoke again. One more thing. She turned. Charlotte asked if you would say she misunderstood. Lady Vale said nothing. She did not misunderstand. She heard you perfectly. The guards escorted her away. For the first time in 19 days, Lady Vale no longer controlled the story. Removing Lady Vale solved the immediate danger. It did not answer the harder question. How had so many adults allowed it? Director David Lancaster arrived under escort 30 minutes later. He had served royal protection for almost 3 decades. He entered William's office expecting a discussion about procedure. Instead, William played Charlotte's final recording. Lancaster listened without visible emotion. When it ended, he said, "The material is distressing. When did you first hear it?" Lancaster looked at Wells. "Several days ago." Wells turned sharply. William remained still. "How many days?" 4. You heard my daughter say she thought her mother was ignoring her 4 days ago. I heard a child responding emotionally to a controlled exercise. Did you tell me? No. Did you tell Catherine? No. Did you stop the exercise? Lady Vale advised that early termination could cause confusion. William almost laughed. Charlotte was already confused. That was the harm. Lancaster kept his official tone. Sir, every royal household uses specialists. If protection officers override approved programs whenever a child becomes unhappy, nothing can function. Unhappy? William played the file again. Please tell her I tried to reach her. Does that sound like ordinary unhappiness? Lancaster's face changed slightly. In hindsight, the situation should have been escalated. Not hindsight, you had her voice. We lacked context. You had 19 days, 10 recordings, and 2 staff concerns. The only context you lacked was permission to care more about Charlotte than the reputation of an approved program. Lancaster looked offended. I have protected this family for 30 years. Today, a suspended sergeant protected my daughter from you. Wells lowered his eyes. Lancaster looked at Wright, who had been brought in as a witness. Sergeant Wright violated the chain of command, copied protected material, and contacted the Prince of Wales's office without authorization. William turned to Wright. Did you do those things? Yes, sir. Why? Because Charlotte asked us not to let Lady Vale take the phone. Because the calls were being deleted. Because every proper step gave the evidence back to someone who wanted it gone. Did you believe you might lose your job? Yes. Why continue? Wright looked toward the family corridor. Because she already believed adults would choose rules over her. I did not want to prove her right. William faced Lancaster. That is protection. Lancaster's voice hardened. That is insubordination. When obedience protects the person causing harm, insubordination may be the only honest form of duty. Commander Wells finally spoke. Sir, I suspended Wright. William looked at him. I know. I received the exercise notice. I believe the phone should go back to the department that owned it. When Catherine objected, I should have stopped. I did not. Why? Wells answered honestly, because I was afraid of creating a crisis around an approved royal program. So you made the child the easier person to disappoint. Wells nodded. Yes, sir. William let the admission remain in the room. Then he gave the consequences. Lancaster was suspended immediately and referred to an independent disciplinary board. Wells was removed from command during the investigation. Every staff member who heard or reviewed Charlotte's recordings would be interviewed. Every report involving the fear or isolation of a royal child would now go directly to the parents and an outside safeguarding officer. No department would be allowed to investigate itself. Lancaster objected. Sir, a full investigation could damage public trust. William answered without hesitation. Public trust is not protected by hiding how a child was failed. And if this leaks, then the truth will be that Charlotte was brave. One guard listened, and the palace corrected the people who did not. Lancaster looked at Wright with open anger. He should still be disciplined. William picked up Wright's badge from the desk. He will be reviewed. Lancaster seemed satisfied. Then William continued. The review will determine how to preserve the route he created when every official route failed. He handed the badge back to Wright. Sergeant, you are restored to duty. Wright accepted it. Thank you, sir. Do not thank me. I am correcting a mistake. Lancaster and Wells were escorted out separately. Wells paused at the door. Sergeant. Wright looked at him. You were right. Charlotte was right first, sir. Wells nodded. Yes, she was. King Charles returned to Windsor that evening. He had received only a short briefing. An unauthorized child program, intercepted family calls, a lockdown, and 2 suspended protection leaders. William met him in a private study. The red phone lay between them. Charles looked tired. Start at the beginning. William did not give him a summary. He played the recordings. Charles heard Lady Vale tell Charlotte that Kate loved the version of her that caused fewer problems. He heard Charlotte apologize for needing her mother. He heard the child promise to stop asking for comfort. By the final file, Charles's hands were no longer still. How long? 19 days. Where were we? Close enough to see she was quiet. Too far away to ask the right question. Charles looked at the phone. Did Camilla know? There is no evidence she knew what Vale was saying. Her office approved Vale's general household role, not this program. And Catherine? Never approved any of it. Charles stood and walked to the window. Lady Vale told me these resilience lessons were about public confidence. She used your support for the general idea to make people afraid to challenge the details. Charles turned. What have you done? William listed the actions. Vale dismissed. Lancaster suspended. Wells removed from command. Evidence secured. Independent investigation ordered. Charlotte protected from any further contact. Charles nodded. Good. William had prepared for resistance. You agree? My granddaughter believed her mother no longer wanted her. There is nothing to debate. Charles picked up the phone. Where is Charlotte? With Kate and the boys. Will she see me? If she wants to. Charles did not summon her. He asked permission. 10 minutes later, Charlotte entered with Kate. She looked uncertain. Charles stood. Come here, darling. Charlotte moved toward him. He knelt. I heard your recordings. Her eyes dropped. All of them? All of them. Did I make the palace close? No. Adults who failed to protect you made that necessary. Lady Vale said the family would be embarrassed if people knew I couldn't finish the lesson. Charles took her hands. The family should be embarrassed that the lesson was allowed to continue. Charlotte looked at him. Are you angry with me? I am angry that you had to make proof before adults listened. Papa said my words should have been enough. He is right. Charles's voice broke slightly. Your word should have been enough for me too. Charlotte leaned into him. The king held his granddaughter. For the institution, the lockdown had been an unprecedented security action. For Charlotte, this was the larger event. The most powerful adults in the family were finally saying the same thing. You were not difficult. You did not imagine it. You were right to ask for help. When Charlotte left, Charles called the head of his household. Every program involving the children stops tonight. All of them, sir. Every one. Parents review them from the beginning. Safeguarding reviews them independently. No title, no office, and no advisor gets an exception. He called Camilla next. William remained in the room as witness. Charles explained what Lady Vale had done. Camilla was silent for a long moment. Miriam told me the children were learning confidence. She taught Charlotte that Kate did not want her. I never approved that. Then say so publicly inside the household. No one uses your office as a shield again. Camilla agreed. Lady Vale lost the final authority she thought might save her. The family would not protect her. The protection director could not bury the evidence. The commander could not punish the guard into silence. Charlotte's recordings had reached every person Lady Vale said would be too busy to listen, and every one of them had listened. 3 days later, Thomas Wright was called to William's office. He arrived expecting formal questions about the rules he had broken. Instead, Charlotte was there with Kate. William stood behind his desk. "Sergeant Wright, the independent review has begun." "Yes, sir." "You did violate procedure." "Yes, sir." Charlotte looked worried. William continued. "You also preserved evidence that was being deleted, contacted the only office willing to interrupt me, and refused to surrender a frightened child to the person she feared." Wright said nothing. "The review found that every rule you broke had placed control in the hands of the department being accused." William placed a document on the desk. "Those rules are being changed." Wright looked at the document. It was a promotion to staff sergeant and a permanent assignment to Charlotte's protection detail. "Sir, I don't know what to say." Charlotte answered for him. "You can say yes." For the first time, Wright smiled. "Yes." William extended his hand. "You risked your career because my daughter needed one adult to believe her. I will not forget that." Wright shook his hand. "She did the difficult part." Charlotte looked at him. "Making the recordings? Making them. Hiding the card. Telling the truth again after people did not listen the first time." Kate placed one hand on Charlotte's shoulder. "He's right." Charlotte studied the red phone, now sealed inside a clear evidence case. "Can I ask something?" "Anything," William said. "If something happens again, do I still need proof?" The room became quiet. Wright knelt so they were eye level. "No." "But what if the adult says I misunderstood? Then we listen to you before we listen to the excuse. What if they are important?" William answered, "No one is more important than your safety." Charlotte looked at Kate. "What if I call 17 times?" Kate smiled through tears. "Then I answer 18. Charlotte finally laughed. It was not the polite laugh she used at public events. It was loud, surprised, and real. The investigation lasted 6 weeks. Lady Vale's dismissal became permanent. Director Lancaster retired before the disciplinary board finished, but his authority and palace access were revoked. Commander Wells accepted a demotion. He later requested additional safeguarding training and apologized to Kate and Charlotte in person. The 2 technical employees were cleared of knowing what Lady Vale said, but the department that allowed one advisor to control the phone, the messages, and the review was dismantled. The red telephone remained evidence. Charlotte received a new phone. It did not have a blue case, a lesson folder, or a hidden route. It had 4 contacts: Mom, Papa, the duty protection officer, an independent child safety line outside the household. On the first evening Charlotte tested it, she pressed Mum. Kate answered after 2 rings. "Hello, sweetheart." Charlotte did not speak immediately. "Charlotte? It's really you?" "It's really me." "What is the blue word?" Kate answered with the private word only the family knew. Charlotte exhaled. "I don't need anything. You can still call. I just wanted to know you would answer. Always." Across the room, Wright looked away to give her privacy. Charlotte ended the call and placed the phone in her pocket. "It worked," she said. "Good. Do you think I was silly for calling when I didn't need anything?" "No. Lady Vale would have." "Lady Vale was wrong." Charlotte nodded. She was learning that a lie repeated by an adult was still a lie. She was learning that love did not disappear when she was sad, frightened, or difficult. Most importantly, she was learning that asking for help did not make her weak. 2 weeks after the lockdown, the royal family attended another garden reception. The setting looked almost identical to the day everything began. Photographers waited behind barriers. Guests moved across the lawn. Staff carried silver trays. Charlotte stood beside Kate. This time, she asked questions. She laughed when Louis whispered something. She corrected George when he named a flower incorrectly. Wright watched from 20 feet away, close enough to respond, far enough to disappear. Charlotte caught his eye. She touched the new phone in her pocket once. Then she smiled. Not because a camera expected it, because she knew the call would reach home. William joined Kate and the children near the garden steps. He looked toward Wright and gave one small nod. No one in the crowd understood what it meant. Wright did. It meant the child was safe. It meant the truth had survived. It meant the person who listened first had not been punished for listening. The palace had locked every gate because of a red telephone. But the telephone was never the real danger. The danger was making a child believe her mother no longer wanted her voice. The real evidence was not a device, a call log, or a memory card. It was Charlotte saying again and again that something was wrong. One guard believed her. One father finally heard her. One mother repaired the lie with the truth. And every adult who chose reputation, procedure, or convenience over a child was forced to answer for it. Would you have broken the chain of command to protect Charlotte, even if it cost your career? Or should a guard always follow the rules? Tell us what you would have done in the comments. And subscribe for more palace stories where one hidden piece of evidence changes everything.